Hey guys, welcome to another video. In this video, we'll be revising questions of the excretory system. So let's start the video. The first question, excretion means A, B, C, or D. Let's go through the options. The process of removal of digestive waste from the body, the process of removal of undigested food from the body. So you have digestive keyword over here, you have the undigested food from the body, this keyword over here, and then C, the process of removal of nitrogenous wastes from the body. So C would be the correct answer. Second question, waste products are formed, once again, okay. Waste products are formed during metabolism in the body. The chemical substances that are eliminated in the excretion are. So in the first option, you have glucose, CO2, water, etc. You have in the second option, CO2, water, urea, uric acid, bile pigments, amino acids, and so on. Now, the correct answer in this case would be D. So basically, let's list out the substances found. So CO2 is found, water, urea, uric acid, bile pigments, and excess salts. So those substances are flushed out of the body that is not required by the body. Only those substances are excreted out. The third question, which of the following is not termed as excretion? So you have sweat and tears, and then you have urine, and then you have both A and C. So the correct option would be D, both A and C. Now, why? Because sweat and tears are not excretion. They are not termed as excretion. Because excretion is removal of harmful nitrogenous substances from the body, whereas sweat passes small amounts of nitrogenous substances through its main function is thermoregulation. So it is secreted from sweat glands, whereas tears is also secretion of lacrimal glands. The third question, which of the following is not termed excretion? So sweat is not termed as excretion, urine is termed as excretion, and tears is not termed as excretion. So D would be the correct answer. Let's move on to the fourth question. Human urinary system consists of what? So we know that the human urinary system consists of a pair of kidney, pair of ureter, urinary bladder, and urethra. So the correct option would be A. Fifth question, the shape of kidneys is, remember this, the shape of kidneys is bean shaped. Let's move on to the sixth question. Kidneys are dash bean shaped organs located on dash. So they are two in number and they are located on either side of the backbone. So the correct option would be C. Okay, let's move on. The seventh question, nitrogenous waste like urea, uric acid, and creatinine are excreted through kidneys majorly. The other organs involved in the excretion of nitrogenous wastes along with the kidney are. So they are kidney and skin. Skin, in the sense, they are referring to sweat, which is secreted through the skin. Eighth question, excretion eliminates harmful nitrogenous substances. Excretion also plays an important role in what? So the correct option would be D, both B and C. Now, what are B? They play an important role in homeostasis and osmoregulation. Ninth question, excretion commonly involves what? So it commonly involves D, all of the above. Why is that so? Because excretion commonly involves removal of all byproducts during catabolism, removal of byproducts during anabolism, and removal of nitrogenous wastes. Let's move on. The 10th question, what is the chief nitrogenous waste in mammals? So that would be urea, D. 11th question, profuse sweating takes place during heavy muscular exercise. What is the reason? So the correct reason is D, all of the above. To excrete excessive amounts of sodium chloride, to eliminate small amounts of nitrogenous wastes, and to regulate the temperature of body. So all three are correct. So that's why D would be the correct answer. 12th question, which of the following is not an excretory activity in the real sense? So let's look at the following questions. Releasing of carbon dioxide, that is not an excretory activity in a real sense. Passing out fecal matter, sweating, and removal of urea, they are termed as excretory activity. 13th question, a tube which arises from each kidney and connects to the urinary bladder is, that would be ureter, D. 14, the kidney consists of minute tubules called what? They are called D, A or B. They are called A or B. Nephron or uriniferous tubules, or basically tubules. 15th question. Dash are called structural and functional units of kidneys. They are known as nephrons. B would be the correct option. Let's move on to the first part of the 16th question. Human urinary system eliminates nitrogenous substances from the body. Now answer the following questions. So look at the diagram carefully and you have to answer the following questions. Name the parts labeled 1, 2, 3, and 4. So look at the option. I'll show you the options. Look at the diagram, pause the video, and then look at the options. So what do you think is the correct option? The correct option would be B. So let's see why. Let's look at the figure. So first would be kidney, of course. This would be kidney. Then you have ureters. So this would be ureters. It's a thin pipe that connects the kidney to the urinary bladder. Third is the urinary bladder, where the urine is stored. And then there's urethra. That is used to flush out the urine from urinary bladder. Second subpart, the ureter is expanded into the kidney at the front end so it's called the pelvis. B. Let's roll to the diagram. If we see, we can spot the pelvis. So basically, this part over here, this upper end of the ureter is called pelvis. So usually you have a full kidney like this, and you have a bunch of pyramid-shaped medulla cortex of the kidney, and then you have a ureter, which goes to the urinary bladder. So this part is called pelvis, and this part, this pipe, is called the ureter. Okay, so let's move on to the third subpart. Which of the following statement is false regarding excretion? So let's read the following options. So you have kidneys are the primary excretory organs. This is correct. Lungs are the excretory organs which eliminate CO2. This is wrong. So B would be the correct option. Let's look at the 17th question, another diagram-based question. The diagram shows longitudinal section of kidney with blood supply. Answer the following questions. So look at the diagram carefully and answer the following questions. Label the parts 1 and 2 from the diagram. So let's look at what it is referring to. So it's referring to this part and this part. So what do you think this will be? You can pause the video to see. The correct option would be B. Now let's look at the option B. It's saying that the part 1 is cortex and the part 2 is medulla. So the outer region is known as the cortex and the inner region is known as the medulla. Now do note that these columns between the medulla are also known as cortex. They are just columns of cortex. This pyramid shaped thingy, this is the medulla. This is the inner region of the kidney. Second question, name the part labeled 3. Where is it present? Now let's see what it is referring to. So it's labeling 3 to be this. Now what exactly is 3? So that would be conical pyramid medulla. Conical pyramid medulla, C. So as I said before, this part that I was referring to, these are known as conical pyramids of the medulla. This is the inner region of the kidney. The third question, label the part 5, the region of the kidney from which it arises is called what? It is ureter and ileum, C. So let's look at the part 5 of the kidney. This is the part 5 of the kidney, and this is also known as the ureter. Okay, let's move on to the next question. 18th question. Cone-shaped tissue masses present in the renal medulla is called what? It's called the renal pyramid, A. 19th question. Bunch of capillaries present in the Bowman's capsule. So those are known as glomerulus. C would be the correct option. 20th. The right side of kidney is at slightly dashed than the left kidney. So the correct option would be B, lower level. So the right side of the kidney is at slightly lower level than the left kidney. So if you have two kidneys like this, the left kidney is at the upper level and the right kidney is at a slightly lower level than the left kidney. So another diagram-based question, study the diagram of excretory system and answer the following questions. So you have been given two diagrams. What are the functions of kidney in a human body? So what do you think is the answer? The correct option is D, all of these. So osmoregulation of body fluids is the function of kidney. Regulation of pH balance is also a function, and removal of metabolic waste is also a function of the kidney. The 22nd question, study the figure that shows a bean-shaped internal structure, also known as kidney, and answer the following questions. So let's see, choose the correct labeling in the internal section of bean-shaped kidney. So what do you think will be the correct answer? I'll show you the diagram. You can pause the video if you want. And I'll show you the options. You can pause the video if you want. So the correct option in this case would be D, all of the above. So let's see. Let's dissect the bean-shaped structure, also known as kidney. So A, what is A referring to? It is referring to the minor calyx. It is referring to the minor calyx. So what exactly is the minor calyx? So say, for example, let's go to the previous kidney-shaped structure. Now, do you see these gaps between the pyramids, the conical pyramids? These are known as calyx. So say, for example, the thinnest part is known as the minor calyx. The thinnest gap between the two conical pyramids is known as the minor calyx. And these branches out into a wide shape, and this part is known as the major calyx. So you have the minor calyx and you have the major calyx. Now major calyx further spreads out to the part known as pelvis. So the centermost part is known as the pelvis, and these spread out regions are known as the major calyx, and these thin gaps between the conical pyramids of the medulla are known as the minor calyx. Okay, so let's move on to the next part, the B. Now, what exactly is B? Let's see what B is. The renal pelvis. So as I said before, this part, the centermost part, is known as the pelvis or renal pelvis. Now, what is C? C is renal artery. So what is C pointing to? C is pointing to the renal artery. Okay, let's move on to D. Now, D is the ureter. So where is D pointing towards? It is pointing towards the pipe that leads the urine down to the urinary bladder for storage. And then you have E, renal capsule. Now, what is E pointing to? E is pointing to these renal capsules inside the kidney or in the cortex. And what is F? F are the capillaries. Where is F pointing to? F is also pointing to these capillaries in the cortical region of the kidney. And then is G given? G is the hilum. Now, where is G pointing towards? G is pointing towards these areas also known as the hilum. So this will be hilum. Now H, where is H pointing to? H is pointing towards the medulla. So these regions as you can see on the screen, these are known as the medulla, the conical pyramids of the medulla. Okay, so let's move on. 23rd question. The hollow space of the center of kidney where urine is collected after its formation is called. Now, as I said before, this area is called the renal pelvis. A. 24th question. In kidneys, urine is produced by ultra-filtration, tubular reabsorption, and tubular secretion in that order. So C would be the correct option. The main function of ureter is to transport the urine to the urinary bladder constantly. That is the function of ureter. Let's move on to the 26th question. Not like mass blood of capillaries is called what? That is called glomerulus. So basically, you have the efferent arteriole. Efferent arteriole is spelled like this. This is efferent arteriole. And the efferent arteriole leads to a bunch of capillaries, which is known as glomerulus. And then a much thinner capillary, which is known as efferent arteriole, which leads the filtered blood away from the glomerulus. And you have this structure that surrounds the glomerulus with, of course, some very small space in between. It's not joined to the glomerulus. This is known as the Bowman's capsule. So this is the overall structure where ultrafiltration happens. So blood gushes inside through the efferent arteriole into the glomerulus, and the filtered products are filtered out. 26th question, not like mass of blood capillaries is called C, glomerulus. 27th question, Multigen capsule is formed of what? So is it formed of renal tubule and Bowman's capsule, glomerulus and Bowman's capsule? So the correct option would be B, glomerulus and Bowman's capsule. 28th question, the part which is not a component of kidney tubule, this is known as urethra, B. 29th, hairpin-like structure which is not convoluted and lies in the medulla is. This would be called loop of Henle. Pick the odd one out. So Multigen capsule, ultrafiltration, urethra, micturition, urinary bladder eliminates urine, hairpin, which is known as the loop of Henle. So of course C would be the correct option. Because urinary bladder does not eliminate urine. Only the urethra eliminates the urine. Urinary bladder is simply used as a storage compartment. 31st question, state the blood vessel which enters the Multigen capsule. This is known as the efferent artery. There's a difference between efferent and efferent arteriole. So the first letter of the word efferent differs. So the efferent arteriole with the first word as A leads the blood vessel which enters the Multigen capsule. Efferent arteriole with the first word as E leads the blood vessel away. 31st question, state the blood vessel which enters the Multigen capsule. So this is known as the efferent arteriole. Now, what is the efferent arteriole and efferent arteriole? So there's a big difference between these. Of course, the first is that the first letter is different. So basically, you have a blood vessel, a thick blood vessel that leads into the glomerulus, which is a bunch of blood capillaries. So I'm just scribbling to represent these jumbled up capillaries. And then there's a much thinner capillary which leads the filtered blood out of the glomerulus. And then, of course, you have a structure surrounding the glomerulus, which is also known as the Bowman's capsule. So this is known as the glomerulus. This is known as the Bowman's capsule. Just to write a short abbreviation. This is known as the glomerulus. This is known as the efferent arteriole, AA, and this is known as the efferent arteriole with the E. So this is the difference. State the blood vessel which leaves the Multigen capsule. Now, again, as I said before, this would be B, efferent arteriole. 33rd question, the organ which produces urea is. So that would be C, liver. It's not the kidneys, it is liver. That's a big confusion that I also had. 34th, kidney consists of numerous nephrons which produce urine constantly. Identify the correct sequence of the parts of the nephron. So the correct option would be B. You have the glomerulus, you have the Bowman's capsule, the proximal convoluted tube, or in short, PCT, loop of Henle, and then you have the distal convoluted tube, also known as DCT. 35th question. The diagram is a part of a structural and functional unit of kidney. Answer the following questions. So this entire setup is known as the Multigen capsule. Multigen capsule. Okay. So the correct option for the 35th question would be C. Efferent arteriole and efferent arteriole. So it's asking to label the parts 1 and 2. So 1, of course, would be efferent with the A, and the second option would be 2, which is efferent arteriole with the E, efferent arteriole. This leads the unfiltered blood into the glomerulus, and this leads the filtered blood out of the glomerulus. Okay, let's move on to the third subpart. Label the parts 4 and 5. Bowman's capsule and glomerulus forms what? So this question is continued over here. So the correct option for the third question would be B. So you have the Bowman's capsule, you have the proximal convoluted tubule, and then you have the Multigen capsule. Okay, let's move ahead. 36th question. Dash is a starting convoluted tubule which lies in the dash of the kidneys. So this would be C. You have the proximal convoluted tubule, and then you have the cortex. So proximal convoluted tubule is a starting convoluted tubule, and distal convoluted tubule is the end convoluted tubule. State the correct reason for the following statement. Why blood flows under high pressure through glomerulus? So for this, the correct option would be D. Efferent arteriole is narrower than efferent arteriole, creating greater pressure. So say, for example, if you have two pipes. One is a thick pipe and the next is a much narrow pipe. So this thick pipe we refer to as efferent arteriole with the A, and this narrow pipe we refer to as efferent arteriole with the E. So this structure, as I said before, leads the unfiltered blood into the glomerulus at great pressure. And this efferent arteriole leads the filtered blood out of the glomerulus. And just remember that both of these structures, this is a much thicker version and this is the thinner version of the same arteriole. 38th question, match the column. So A would be matched to what? Now A would be matched to 3, cup shape. Bowman's capsule is cup shape. It has a structure like this. And you have the glomerulus, a bunch of capillaries. Okay, what is B matched to? B will be matched to ultra-filtration. So ultra-filtration happens in the glomerulus, in this part, in the jumbled up capillary part. What is C? Kidney is matched to excretion. And then you have D, urinary bladder. And as I said before, the sole function is storage of the urine. And then you have the renal artery, which is finally matched to 4, which contains more urea. Okay, let's move on to the 39th question. Sorry. So again, you have the Multigen capsule over here. The diagram given below is a part of a nephron. Okay, 3 plus 4 is equal to Multigen capsule. Dot name the parts 3 and 4. So what this means is the parts labeled 3 and 4, they are collectively known as Multigen capsule. And we have to name the parts 3 and 4. So as I said before, this jumbled up capillary tube is called the glomerulus. This is called the glomerulus, and this is known as Bowman's capsule. This is known as Bowman's capsule. Okay. So the correct option in this case would be glomerulus and Bowman's capsule, A. Let's move on to the next question. Second question, name the region of the kidney Multigen capsule is present, which gives dotted appearance. So this would be in the renal cortex. So remember, this is the kidney. So you have a conical pyramid, which is also known as the medulla. I'm only drawing 3. So this part is known as the renal cortex. And these pyramid-shaped structures, these conical pyramid-shaped structures are also known as the cortex, the medulla of the kidney. So this will be known as the cortex. These 3 will be known as the medulla of the kidney. Okay, so let's move on. The 40th question, pick the odd one out. Okay, so arteriole, renal artery, glomerulus, ultra-filtration, distal convoluted tube, osmoregulation. This is wrong. So C would be the correct option. Let's move on to the next question. The 41st question. Choose the correct order among the following. So you have A, B, C, or D. The correct option would be D, both B and C. Now let's look at what the option B and C is. So you have the renal artery, efferent arteriole, capillary, efferent arteriole, vasa recta. Okay. And then you have glomerulus, Bowman's capsule, proximal convoluted tube, loop of Henle, distal convoluted tube, collecting duct. So both of these options are correct. Both of the options are correct because the process is listed correctly. Let's move on. So this, identify the diagram and answer the following questions. This is what is known as, this is what we call D, both B and C. What is B and C? Nephron, formation of urine and uriniferous tubule, which is also another name for nephron, which is responsible for the formation of urine. So this is what we call a nephron. This is the overall structure of the nephron. So this is the Multigen capsule. This is the Multigen capsule. It does not include the efferent and efferent arteriole. Only parts 3 and 4 are what make up the Multigen capsule. Now this part is known as the PCT, or proximal convoluted tube, and this part, I think from here, yeah, this part is known as the distal convoluted tube, and these are the collecting ducts. Collecting ducts. I just refer to it as CD. And this part is known as the loop of Henle. Okay, let's move on. Second question, how many nephrons approximately are present in the kidney? So what do you think? The correct option would be 2 million. So B would be the correct option. Third question, the parts 1, 2, 3, 4 are efferent arteriole, glomerulus, and Bowman's capsule. The process involved by these is called dash, which occurs in dash of kidney. So this would be, the correct option in this case would be B, ultra-filtration and cortex. So this will be ultra-filtration, and this occurs in the cortex of the kidney. So I'll just scroll down. So this whole figure, I'll just zoom out a bit. This whole figure is present in the cortex of the kidney. So the outer part, this whole nephron structure is present in the outer part of the kidney. And this part, as I said before, is known as Multigen capsule. The parts only labeled 3 and 4, where ultrafiltration happens. 43rd question, name the blood vessel which contains the least amount of urea. So this would be the renal vein. The 44th question, name the blood vessel which contains least amount of urea. Why is that so? Why does renal vein have the least amount of urea? Because it carries the filtered blood away from the kidney. So renal artery will carry the most, you can call it as the most unclean, or the dirtiest form of blood. And the renal vein carries away from the blood, from the kidney, the cleanest and the most filtered part of the blood, devoid of any nitrogenous waste. The 44th question, a thin membranous sac which serves as a reservoir of urine is called urinary bladder. As I said before, it stores the urine. 45th question, urethra carries urine from the kidneys to the urinary bladder. So the correct option for this would be B. Carries urine from the urinary bladder to the outside of the body. I'll repeat it again. Carries urine from the urinary bladder to the outside of the body. So this, if this was ureter, instead of urethra, if this was ureter, then this would have been A. Carries urine from the kidneys to the urinary bladder. So if you have the kidney, this pipe is known as a ureter, and this leads to a much bigger reservoir, also known as the urinary bladder. So these two pipes are known as a ureter. Let's move on to the 46th question. Pick the odd one out regarding excretion of substances and their organs. So what do you think is the correct option? Bile pigments and kidneys. Okay, let's move on. 47th, sphincter. Now what is sphincter? 47th, the correct option would be A. It is a circular muscle that guards the opening of urinary bladder into urethra. Let's move on. 48th question. Match the following organs with the primary function for excretion of chemical wastes. Okay, so you can pause the video. You can write down the correct option. The correct option would be D, all of these. 49th question. The high hydrostatic pressure in glomerulus is due to what? So D would be the correct option. Efferent arteriole is wide and efferent arteriole is narrow. 50. Renal arteriole that enters Bowman's capsule is dash and then reunited capillaries comes away from Bowman's capsule as dash. So the correct option would be C. Efferent arteriole and efferent arteriole. So this brings us to the end of a long video. I hope you enjoyed this video. This video will be uploaded on IsEqualTo Class with Shivan. Along with this video, there are other videos covering geography, history, computer, physics, chemistry, biology, such as this one. So be sure to check them out. Thanks a lot. I'll see you in the next video. Have a great day.